Guys, good morning. Happy New Year and welcome to 2024. We're starting this episode in around 3 minutes. Super pumped to come in here and get started on another year of Better Body Academy. We are live right across all the socials from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube and LinkedIn and a bunch of groups. So if you're coming into this one live, guys, make sure you get down into the comments and let us know that you are here. And I'd love to know who's playing along. We're going to start this in a couple of minutes. I'm super pumped for the first episode. Ooh, yeah. This is going to be a big one to start the week. Look at this, 15 people in already. So get down there and say hello. First couple of people that have come in, what you need to do is so listen up. It's very simple. We've got the video here, and just above us is a link, okay? And you need to click that link to say authorize restream, because there's a ton of people that are coming in here that I got no idea who they are because of our streaming software. So morning. If I don't mention your name, just click that link. Hello, Nikki friend. I hope you're good, my brother. Hey, Jace. Good evening. Good morning. Good evening, boss. How are you guys? We're starting in a minute and a half. Just on cue. Now, Nicky boy, you're a man who knows everything about photography. The sun decides to shine. Not what we need right now, but that's all good. Good morning, my lovely. Good morning. And Shawnee boy's in here as well. What's going on here, guys? We are starting very shortly. Look at this, 20 people already coming into this one to get their Monday love. And I'm hopefully going to start that for you guys on the best way. Happy New Year, mate. First day back at work, staring at my laptop, feeling sorry for myself. Yeah, that's what happens there. Blakey, good morning, brother. Lovely to have you in here as well. Good morning, team. So, guys, lots of people. Really, just to let you know, it's only Nick Friend and Sean Duras and Amy Hart that I have registered on Restream. So before we do it, if you could just click that link, it'll literally take you 2 seconds. And then we can kickstart this off. So, as always, team, feel free to drop your comments below. And if they're relevant, we can obviously read them out. And we are ready to rock and roll. So, I think we're good to go, team. We're going to love you and leave you there. I'll see you on the other end of this podcast. And anyone that wants to stick around and talk about this, particularly people who are goal-orientated, I think this podcast is going to hit. So, let's get stuck into it on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. We're back for another year of the podcast. I've lost track of where we're up to in episodes. I think we're about 270, so closing in on the 300 mark. I hope everyone had a beautiful, safe holiday with your family. I hope you're feeling recharged for 2024. We really have some big, grand plans, and no doubt you do. We're only, 8 days or something like that into the new year, and people have a lot of goals and intentions that they're setting, and this is why I'm doing this podcast now. In today's episode, I want to give you a tool, which is extremely simple, but very, very beneficial. I've never spoken about this tool before, and so I think it's going to be very helpful to create leverage for you. But as always, I'm going to build up to the tool because there's I want to set it in the right context. So let me start by asking you guys, whether you're in Better Body Academy or not, do you have a primary physical goal this year? So let me start by asking that question. Is there something that physically you want to work on? It might sound silly, but obviously without a goal, how do you actually know what to do? So for example, you might have got up this morning and went to the gym, and without actually knowing why you're there and what you're trying to achieve, it's pretty easy just to see a bunch of people inside, get intimidated, and walk back out the door. I think a lot of people are familiar with that story. Let's not get too specific on the goal at this point. We can always refine that, and we can refine the strategy later on, okay? So let's keep going. We've got to start with something. And I want to talk about this idea of New Year's resolutions and why I feel like for most people they're a curse. We start the new year with resolutions of better health, more money, improved relationships. We set these really ambitious resolutions because we want to get away from the pain that we've been feeling in previous years so we can focus on a happier future. And this makes lots of sense. But by the 8th of January, a lot of us have already failed on our New Year's resolutions and we're giving up. Because here's the thing. Winners and losers, people that are successful at this stuff and people that are not, they both have the same goals. Everyone wants more money. Everyone wants to be healthier. But most people are not. So clearly it's not just the goal that matters. It's not just the what that matters. For me, the revelation for me is that it's actually the why and the how that actually matter. And this is what we're going to focus on in this. And when I say the why, what I mean is getting to the real reason you want to achieve the thing that you say you want to achieve. And then the how is how do we actually make it happen? What strategies that we need to apply? And so there's two big problems with goals, focusing on goals only. This is in addition to the fact that everyone has goals, but not many people hit them. There's two big problems. Most people's goals are temporary. So they're not focused on a permanent lifestyle change. So think about it. In any situation, you either achieve your goal or not, right? So with those two possibilities, there's a potentially negative outcome. The first one is that you fail your goal. Whatever your goal was, you might have given up on yours already, or you might still be going at it. But if you fail on your goal, because that's the only one of two options, then you adopt a mindset of failure as a result of that. How many times have you fallen off the horse, felt like a failure, lost weight, but then put it all back on again because of that feeling of failing on your goals? So that's the one potentially negative outcome. The second potentially negative outcome of being so goal-orientated is that you achieve your goal, then what? Let's say that you've got a small. So one of our boys that's just joined us, Nathan Shanks, immediate goal is to lose 3 or 4 kilos. He's done that within the first 2 weeks. Now what? When all of your hard work has been focused on a particular goal, what's left after you achieve that goal? You tick it off and then you go back to doing what you did before. So this is the problem with being exclusively goal-orientated, is you end up back where you ended up because there's nothing to continue on with. The second goal, which is a huge one for I see everyone, is that having goals but without context, it delays happiness. How many of us think that once we lose 20 kilos, we'll be happy? Or I remember thinking to myself, once I have 10 clients, I'll be happy. Once I have 20 clients, I'll be happy. You just keep changing the goalpost. And if you're pushing your happiness on something that's always down the future, then you're always going to be clinging to some future happiness and reaffirming that you're not there now. Having simple, quantifiable goals like I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to earn $1 million, it sets you up often for a very depressing outcome. I'm thinking specifically of a couple of people here who have smashed their physical fitness goals, but they're actually more unhappy. Does this make sense? It doesn't seem to make sense, but it happens all the time. And here's what can happen. We work hard for 20 to 30 years in the belief that having $1 million is going to make us happy. Just to get to $1 million in our bank account and then realize kind of miserable still. You reach the top of the mountain and you realize that your life's not complete. With all of the sacrifices that you made to achieve that $1 million or the 30 kilos that you wanted to lose, you're no happier. And the problem is you can't rewind the 20 to 30 years. You can't get the time back. Think about it on your weight loss journey. You might have, after 6 months of avoiding all of life's pleasures, you wake up one day, you jump on the scales, you're at your goal weight, you feel validated. Then what? You feel happy for a little bit, and then a week later, you find yourself sitting on the couch and you realize that now you've hit your goal, you still feel empty. There's still something missing. It's not that you regret losing weight, because that had to happen health-wise, but it didn't change everything like you thought it would. If you felt lonely, you probably still feel lonely. If you hate your job, well, losing weight didn't fix that. If you wanted to find someone to share your life with, staying inside dieting isn't really helping you find a relationship. So most people, this is kind of, as we work to this tool, most people I deduce are overweight for one of two things. They're overweight for one of two reasons. Firstly, this is a big one. You've always been out of shape. Your parents didn't really set a good example for you, and you inherited their way. Give me a silent head nod if that is absolutely you. Sidebar, think about your journey as part of it being to save your kids from the pain that you've been through. Maybe you were bullied at school, suffered some kind of trauma growing up. You dealt with it perhaps by emotionally eating and never really felt comfortable with exercising. So you never felt motivated to be in shape. So that's one possibility that you could be overweight. The second possibility I think is very common and equally common, which is you used to be in shape, healthier now than now. It used to be easier to get motivated when the only person you needed to worry about was yourself, right? Yes, okay, you needed to make enough money so you could eat and party, but you were still putting yourself out there and maybe going to clubs and partying. Your physical appearance, you still wanted to keep that in check because that was the main driver. Or maybe you were playing sports at school or when you were a young guy or girl. So you still had this kind of control over your physical. But regardless whether you were overweight or you weren't overweight, at a certain point, your priorities started shifting. Perhaps you met a partner in your life, okay? Perhaps you went from being exclusively me-focused to exclusively we-focused. I'm going to say that again. You went from being me-focused to we-focused. All the mums and dads out there know exactly what I mean by this. And so each new human that potentially added to your life was another person that you needed to account for. So you needed to work to put more hours on the table to pay rent, and you found yourself saying things like, I'm too busy to go to the gym, I'll take a day off, but I'll get it back on track tomorrow. And tomorrow kept getting pushed further and further. When it come to healthy eating, you say, you know what? I've got no time to cook today. I'll just grab some takeout tonight and I'll be back on my diet on Monday. But weeks, months, maybe years passed, and you woke up one day, you looked in the mirror and you said, oh, fuck, what just happened? How did I get here? Do you guys resonate with this story? Because I could see how I could go down this line if I didn't use the tool that I'm about to teach you. For some reason, you knew what you had to do, but you just didn't have the motivation to get back on track to actually do it, and you become what we'd call comfortably overweight. You tried all the different diets, they worked for a little bit until they didn't. So this brings us to now, okay? And I'm getting some silent head nods here, I can tell. This brings us to now, the start of a new year, guys. Your goal is to lose weight. The reason you want to lose weight is because you should. Sound familiar? Maybe you've done a few jogs, you've eaten a little bit better, and so far you've lost 1 or 2 kilos over the first week of the new year. But maybe today it's pissing down, or maybe it's 40 degrees, or maybe there's something going on with the weather or your kids or whatever, so you start playing that familiar tomorrow game. And you know where that ends up, in you quitting. So rather than make the same old mistakes, I propose that it's time to stop and ask yourself some questions, and I'm going to give you the simple framework to doing this. Guys, listen up. This is why we are on this podcast, okay? This is the magic. The tool is called the 5 Whys. Has anyone heard of this before? The 5 Whys. When you set any goal, fitness or otherwise, you need to explore the deeper reasons behind why you want to reach this goal. You need to explore the deeper reasons. Understand that this process that I'm going to talk you through requires your honesty, it requires your vulnerability. And unless you are willing to dig deep, scrape below the surface, it'll simply go over your head. If you rush the process, it's just going to go straight over your head and it'll be useless. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example here so you've got some context. I'm going to give you my real answers to these questions so you can see how it opens me up to digging deeper into my why. Now, if you're in Better Body Academy, I'm going to ask you to do this officially through our website. I'll send you the link shortly in the next couple of days. I want you to do this in 2024 for us to be able to help coach you better. That's everyone who's in our academy. Now, I also want to point out before I run through this with you that I've spent a lot of time over the last 6 months working on myself and asking myself these questions. So if my why seems deep, just don't compare to me because I've been working on this. If you're hearing this for the first time, then just listen up and let it go, okay? This is the 5 whys process. I'm going to ask myself the question, what's your goal? And then what I'm going to do is say, why is that goal important? So follow on with me. I'm going to do this as if I'm talking to myself, okay? Jason, what is your physical goal that you want to achieve right now? I want to improve my strength. I want to be 2 to 3 kilos heavier of muscle mass whilst keeping my body fat in check. That's my goal. That's my honest goal. A little bit stronger, 2 to 3 kilos of muscle mass, keeping my body fat in check at where it is now. Jason, why is that important to you, dude? Well, because I want to feel healthier as I get older and I want to look good. That's the actual reason. Okay, Jason, why is looking good and feeling healthier as you get older, why is that actually important to you, mate? Well, it's because I want to be a good role model for my kids and I want to be able to keep up with them. I don't want to be, like, one of my greatest fears is being the old decrepit dad that can't really do that much. That's why I want to look good. Okay. So Jason, why is it important for you to be a good role model and not be the old decrepit dad? Why is that important? Shit. Okay. Well, I want to be a good role model because my dad was a good role model for me, if I'm honest. When loads of my mates' dads were getting wasted and talking shit about their wives, and I overheard it, I always admired my dad's work ethic and the way he spoke about my mum. And he was always able to give his family a good life. I want to do the same for my family. I want to actually multiply that by 10. Why do you want to not be an old decrepit dad? Well, because I've seen how quickly people can slide into a really bad place when they accept that aging and decay is normal. If I readily accept, for me, that aging, decay, physically getting old, weak, and dysfunctional is normal, then I know, because I know me, that this will massively impact my mental health, my confidence, and the love that I have for myself. These are my honest answers. Okay, Jason. And why is it important that you give your family that experience and to avoid the decline of mental health, confidence, and self-love? Why is that important? Jesus Christ, like, we're deep here. Because I realize I'm not going to live forever. I'm not a religious person, and I believe that my true belief is that the entire meaning of life is just to have an incredible experience while we're here. For me, it's to have fun. If I sell myself and my family short of the best possible experience, then I feel like I'm leaving potential on the table. And one day, through sickness, accident, or just due time, I will be at the end, and the feeling that I want to feel is fucking fulfillment. I don't want to have regrets. Being physically and mentally healthy, having self-belief, and loving myself is the only way that I know to ensure that the filled cup at the end of my life remains possible. And that got deep. But they're my honest answers. When I ask myself this question honestly and just keep going, why and why and why? Can you see the difference now? It's easy to call off a gym session or drink 10 beers when the apparent consequences of doing that are, oh well. But for me, the consequences skipping my gym sessions and getting drunk are that I risk one day reaching the end of my life, feeling regretful, feeling unfulfilled, and it's a different planet in terms of motivation. Most people find it easy to quit because their reasons for starting are just fucking flimsy or non-existent. It goes like this. So friend, why do you want to lose weight? To be a better parent. That's it. What the fuck does that mean? To be a better parent. They've never challenged themselves to ask, and why is being a better parent actually important to you? So people just accept being a comfortably overweight better parent. They're not happy, they're tired all the time, but it isn't bad enough for them to commit to doing the work. As long as they can still function as the average human, that's good enough. People only change when the pain of remaining the same exceeds the pain of changing. The problem is that most people have not become extremely conscious of the pain. It's kind of there as this numbness in the background, expressing as, fuck, the weekend's over, it's Monday again. Oh, I look in the mirror and they think that's normal. And it's not until a life-altering situation like a heart attack or a friend passing that they're jolted into doing something about it. I'm going to run one more hypothetical for you guys. And by the way, we've got 40 people watching on live, which I'm guessing this is hitting. I'm going to run one more coach-client hypothetical example for you here, because if you're in BBA, I want you to do this process. But wait until I give you the cues to do it, because I've got a setup for it. Coach, what's the primary physical goal you want to achieve right now? Client, I want to lose weight. Coach, why do you want to lose weight? Client, because I want to fit into a smaller size of jeans. Okay. Why do you want to fit into a smaller size of jeans? Why is that important to you? Because when I'm wearing jeans, smaller jeans, I think I look better. Okay. And why is it important for you to look better? Because when I look good, I feel better about myself. Okay. And why is it important that you feel better about yourself? Because when I feel better about myself, I feel more assertive and confident. Okay, and why is it important that you feel assertive and confident? What's the relevance of that in your life? Because when I'm more assertive and confident, I'm in control. I'm better able to get what I want out of my life. I'm able to stand up for myself. And this gives me more opportunities. I know I can achieve a lot, but I need to be ready to get uncomfortable and capitalize on opportunities when they actually present. In this example, it started as just weight loss. I wanted to get weight loss so I looked better. And then by the end of it, we've squeezed the actual real reason. Why? It's not that you want to fit into jeans. It's that you want the confidence that delivers. It's not that you just want the confidence. It's that you want the confidence so that you can leverage that into having a better life. This is what's going to make it more likely that you can do the hard things and actually hit your weight loss goals if that is a goal for you. So what does this process actually give you as we wind this podcast to an episode? 2 words, clarity and conviction is what it gives you. When you get to the deep-rooted goal, your conviction to take action has way more energy behind it. Because you're not doing it to look good. You're doing it because it's fucking life and death. It'll be so much harder to quit on yourself when you've actually realized what's at stake. So you can see why this can go over most people's heads if they don't scratch the surface. It's why so frequently in fitness programs, it's painfully hurtful to see how many people just say, oh, I'm overwhelmed at the moment, and just quit. When you understand your purpose, your constant desire to cut the corners and find the little hacks might be replaced by this drive to really master the process. I'm kind of sick of using these guys as an example, but this is what you see in people like Terry Holden and Nick Friend, because Clint Guyett, Steve Byron, Xanth Friend, you are seeing this because they know what the stakes are, because they hit rock bottom. And they started to, whether this was a conscious process or not, they pulled back and dug deep. If you start looking as a long-term transformation, seeing it as a lifestyle change rather than a fat loss goal, the metrics that you start to look at will be completely different. Let me explain. If your immediate why is to look good, you'll want to see quick results on the scales. The more superficial the why, the more desperate you are to see change on the scales. But if you get to your deeply rooted why, you'll be way more concerned with whether you are getting stronger, feeling more energetic, enjoying life more, being able to do more things. I received a wonderful text message off Wendy Bell over the weekend. And she said to me, and she said, you're completely fine to share this, Jace. She said, I'm getting stronger. She said, when I get up off the lounge, what I used to do was kind of like rock to one side and leverage myself up because I had no strength in my legs. I noticed the other day when I got off the lounge, I actually just stood up because I can do squats now. She said to me, check this out. Whenever she went out for lunch, she had to be within like eyes distance of the toilet because she would get this horrible IBS kind of diarrhea sensation come as soon as she ate stuff. It's gone away. And guess what? Wendy's lost 1 or 2 kilos in a couple of months. Over the Christmas period, Wendy shared with me that she normally goes fucking ham on everything that's available to eat. This year, she enjoyed it without feeling any real guilt. She didn't really look at the scales. And interestingly, her beautiful husband, Ben, reached out and said, even though I don't really have weight to lose, I need to start. He said that it's nothing to do with Wendy, but I reckon that's bullshit. I love you, Benny, if you're still watching. Guys, in doing this 5 whys process, you might actually discover that what you thought was important to you is not actually important at all. You might start by thinking, I need to lose weight. Then you start getting strong. You start believing in yourself. You put on a bit of muscle mass and you throw the scales out because you couldn't give a fuck what the number says. Because you've understood that this is a long game. If you're in Better Body Academy, doing this process is going to help your coaches to help keep you on track. If we were able to constantly remind you of your why, when, not if, when you feel that pull of the old you trying to get you to stop, get you to quit on yourself, I can say, hey, Amy, remember this? Remember your really deep reason for doing it? Because at the moment, I don't really have a lot of leverage. What I've got is, I want to lose weight. Why? Because I feel like shit. And that's just not enough. And in our coaching, what I'm starting to realize is the power of getting to a deep, deep, deep why and constantly reminding ourselves of that. So guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. If anyone wants to stick around and answer any questions or provide any feedback, I would love to do so. This has been the first episode of the Better Body Academy podcast coming to you on a beautiful Vancouver morning. I hope you're well. Happy New Year. Let's get stuck in. Okay, guys. For whatever reason, my restream is not really displaying many people's names, but yeah, so lots of really good kind of comments here in the comments. Yeah. Dan says, 100%, I think my original goal was to get to 95 kilos. That's only a couple of kilos away, and I've scrapped that. Yep, 100%. New plan is to grind away and see how far I can push myself. Okay, so Dan, love this, bro. So what we need to do is I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so hopefully I can share my screen. Just give me half a sec for the guys that are still watching. So it's going to look a little bit something like this. Okay, So I'm going to get this to you over the next week or so. And so it'll be on the back end of our website. And I'm simply going to ask you to fill this form in. And I want to get you to get as vulnerable as possible, as deep as possible. And in doing so, this is going to provide us with a record so that we can make sure that we're constantly reminding you of why the hell we're even doing this, why we're checking up on you, why you need to check in, why you need to stay attached, why you need to reach back out. Do you see the relevance of this now, guys? Look at this. So the comments are going, we're going to go back and have a listen to the beginning. Yeah, agreed. Evening, Jace. Really love this. I love this. Yeah, looking forward to getting some goals and getting things done again. Okay, cool. Guys, does anyone want to, there's still 30 people watching on live. Does anyone want to ask any questions to kind of clarify any of the things that we've discussed here at all? As I improve my own personal coaching skill set, and I start to understand more about what hits and what resonates with our crew from coaching more and more people, this is really the one thing that I want to focus on this year. Because I think that, it's really difficult to stay on track. You have so many things calling and competing for your attention, and that's never going to change. That's like being a mum, that's being a business owner, that's being an employee, that's never going to change. What we need to realize is oh my gosh, I'm going to share vulnerably with you guys, over the last, one of the benefits of doing this process for me has been when I'm spending time with my kids and they're only young, as you know, just sitting there and realizing this is not forever. This is not forever. This is going to come to an end. This feeling that I feel inside me is going to come to an end. And at a certain point, they're not going to want to hang around with dad anymore. What is life about, guys? Life is not about standing on your fucking relationship of your body mass to gravity. That is not what life's about. Standing on a set of scales and trying to validate yourself. It is literally saying, I'm going to live here once. That's it. Whether you're a spiritual person or what, it does not matter. Right? You're here for an experience. And if you can grab that experience by the metaphorical nuts, the only way you can do that is when you understand yourself. I'm just going to read out a couple of comments. One of the things I find when I think of my whys is that the deep thing, I want to lose weight, so I'm not judged, but then the inner voice kind of argues, screws them for judging, which impacts the motivation, but maybe just need to ask more whys. Yeah, I agree. I think this is the big thing. It's, as an example, it might be because I'm carrying weight, I feel judged. Okay? Why is it important for you not to feel judged? And then you deduce the reasons from there. And where you'll actually get to is something internal to you. And as we speak about in the mastermind, you need to give less fucks about other people. I've always wanted to achieve things, but setting specific goals I find so challenging. I look forward to this. Yeah. This is why I feel, Sherry, in the mastermind, this is why we are building a life blueprint as opposed to one single goal, right? One single goal. So remember, I'm going to go back to Arnold's book again. I did a podcast on this. You may have something in your past that really pulls you, right? You may, or you may not, So then what we need to do is, if you don't have any major this thing's pulling me, right? Then so what you need to do is start small and start doing things which help you to feel accomplished, help you to feel challenged. And when we do this over time, we've got to trust the process that if we don't know our why, by doing harder things, building our self-confidence, that Our why will find us. Our purpose will find us, and it will happen, Cherie, because of the fact that if you've asked enough questions and you don't put a time limit on this. I would also say that a lot of the time, your why is going to change over the course of a lifetime. It's going to completely change. I've got no doubt when I'm 70 years old, my why will be not obsolete in terms of the physical presence, but it will still, it'll be about living life and making sure that I'm enjoying the moment, enjoying my partner. It's not going to be just, so it's okay for the why to be transient over time. This makes sense? Amy, it gets really hard when you get to the third or fourth why. Yes, it is normal. Amy, you have to remember that, okay, and I'm not flexing, I'm saying I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing masterminds and reading self-improvement books and listening to things. I've been doing this for a hell of a long time. And so this is why you can't compare. It's not about that. But you do have to keep digging. So when we get you to do this process, right, it's going to be easier when you're having a third party ask you why. Why is that important? So we could run the process here, Amy, which is, all right, I want to lose weight. Okay, why do you want to lose weight? Because I want to feel better. Okay, well, why do you want to feel better though? And it feels like a block. Because it's like, isn't that a fucking obvious question? Why do you want to feel better? Well, I want to feel better because I want to live my life. I want to love my life. Okay, so why do you want to live and love your life? Why is that important to you? Could pull up some trauma from the past. Could be as simple as saying, well, my mum and dad passed away at their mid-60s and I don't want that to happen to me. I want to be able to enjoy more time with my kids. Or it might be that I watched the way that my parents enriched their life by doing this and this. Or it might be that I watched the way that my parents lived till 80, but they did nothing and they were bored and they just fought with each other all the time. And I don't want that to be me because I've had this realization. This could go a million different ways. And this is why, a podcast like this, it's impossible to cover all bases because we all are different humans and we have a different way of thinking, different genetics. And it's just, the goal is you have to keep asking, digging. Think of it almost like, here's a great example. I'll turn sideways. Think of, this is a cliff wall, okay? And somewhere in this cliff wall, right the way to the window here, there's a diamond, right? And you're the miner. And the miner is just hacking with his pick. And you don't know, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let my diamond be my fat mass. So you don't know whether the diamond is superficially deep or it's way back there. And what I see is that people kind of do this, right? They're digging and they're digging and they're digging and they do this. You ready? They go, and they just clip the side of it and they say, fuck, I give up. You were so close. You were so close, but you gave up. Just one more. And this is the mindset that you've got to have. This is the mindset that I built my coaching business upon. It's just do another post. Just help another person. Just send another text. Just one more. And in those days, Ames, where you're feeling like everything's a struggle, sometimes just swinging the pick and missing is a great achievement, right? But the moment you put the pick down and you say, you know what, fuck, I give up, that's the only point in time you lose. So yeah, is it normal to draw a blank? Yep, it is. Because if you've never challenged yourself with such questions, then you're not really playing you're playing a finite game. You're playing a finite game. The people that win in life are the ones that are playing to play the game. That might sound a bit opaque, but the ones that lose are the people that are always just playing to win. Playing to win. Right? Whoever said that, when you give up, you put yourself back at square one. Exactly. It's almost like the sandcastle collapses, everything fills back in on itself, and you're starting again. Exactly. It's just like a chip. We're playing an infinite game. And if you're always like playing the difference between the infinite game and the finite game is this. The finite game is, once I get there, I'll be this. Never happens. Like, I had financial goals, I had an investment property goal, I wouldn't say I'm any happier because of those things that I have. Like, honestly. Like, what drives me is the purpose. Like, I love doing these podcasts. Like, the process of writing the podcast and hours. It's like, I'm not sitting here going, fuck, this is fun. In fact, I'm going, fuck, I'm up on a 4 o'clock on a Sunday morning to write a podcast. That's what I'm thinking. But then I know that the purpose, the process must be followed. If you just follow the process, and then when you mess it up, when you can't adhere to a day, it's okay. Just press reset and get stuck back into it again the next day. Make every moment count. You don't get these moments back. Yeah, and I have no experience of that loss, and so I'm taking a lot of the parents' advice that I'm getting in BBA actually on that especially. And it's really hard because I'm so driven in my purpose that I have to remind, why the fuck am I doing this in the first place? Challenge. A year in the BBA now for me, now my why is very different, at the beginning than it is now 12 months ago. Your why is different. Your goals, I can't tell who it is. Your goals are probably different as well. Your mindset is completely different as well. And without even knowing who this is, I can tell by the statement that you've gone from this being a fat loss process for you to no, this is a transformation of my life. The problem is that at the start, unless you really get to the person's core why, Sam Adigan, okay, so exactly, Sam. So I think one of the mistakes in coaching that we have openly made is not getting to a person's core why really quickly and really early on. And this is something that I want to change, because if we understand your core why and you're willing to quit on yourself, then I would challenge that possibly it's not your core why. Ez says, the past year I've been swinging and missing a lot, feeling like a failure at times, feeling really unmotivated, feeling annoyed, but I continue to swing. Yeah, it fills me with purpose. Yeah, if I give up, there's more to lose than swinging. 100%, Ez. And what's a really difficult thing to remember is that just because you're not seeing the fruits of your labor immediately, that doesn't mean that your labor isn't fruiting. As an example, if I look outside here, if I can't see the grass growing, does that mean it's not growing? It's fucking growing. But I can't see it in real time, right? And so the challenge with us is that if we're just really addicted to short-term results, we want to see quick. And most of the people that want to see quick are because they're trying to get to a surface level why. I need to lose this 10 kilos so I look good for this photo in a minute. But the easiest way to lose weight is chop off your arm. Do you know what I mean? At what cost are you willing to, do you know what I mean? Most people won't chop off their arm or their leg, but they will starve themselves for the purpose of what? Losing the weight and then putting it back on again. It's crazy the psychology that goes into this. Anyway, guys, I've talked for long enough. Hopefully this has been helpful. Maybe we should listen to this podcast twice. I think it'd be really beneficial, particularly the process of actually asking the whys. And I will be asking everyone to complete this because I think it will really help us start the year on the right foot. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you in the next episode. Love you and have a beautiful week.